Okay, so imagine this for a second. Imagine being the only person in the entire world with your specific blood type.
Yeah, not just, rare like O negative, but literally unique. One of one.
Exactly. What would that even mean for you? Well, today we're taking a deep dive into a truly astonishing medical discovery that brings that exact scenario to life.
It really is fascinating.
And it's going to challenge pretty much everything you thought you knew about blood.
So French scientists have now officially confirmed a brand new human blood type. They've named it Gwada Negative.
Gwada Negative.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was found in a woman from Guadeloupe, which is a French Caribbean island.
Yeah.
And right now, she is the only known person on the entire planet with it.
Wow.
Which makes it the 48th officially recognized blood group system.
The 48th system, that alone tells you it's complex. It really is a medical marvel. So our mission in this deep dive is to unpack the incredible implications of this.
So what does it actually mean?
Right. What does it mean for her, for this individual, and how does it challenge, our whole understanding of blood compatibility, transfusions?
And all that stuff we learned in high school biology.
Pretty much. It reveals this whole complex world of blood groups way beyond ABO. So let's get into it.
Okay, so let's really break down what makes Gwada Negative so groundbreaking. It's not like it just appeared yesterday.
Right. You said it was confirmed recently.
Exactly. This new blood type was actually first flagged, let's say, way back in 2011.
Oh, wow. So over a decade ago.
Yeah. But it was only just officially confirmed in 2025 by France's National Blood Agency. What they found is that this woman's red blood cells carry a really unique genetic mutation.
Okay. And unique in what way? You mentioned a specific gene.
Yes, we're talking about something specific in her PIGZ gene. PIGZ gene.
And what does that mutation do? How does it make her blood different?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting. This PIGZ mutation basically changes the way certain sugars attach to proteins on the surface of her red blood cells. Think of them like little address labels on the cells. Her mutation changes those labels in such a fundamental way.
That no other blood type recognizes the address.
Precisely. It's like trying to deliver mail to an address that, well, it just doesn't exist on anyone else's map. Only hers. That's the level of incompatibility. Her body would essentially reject any blood that isn't her own.
So it's not even like a rare subgroup of A or B or O.
No, not at all.
It's completely outside those, which is why she can only receive blood from herself.
Exactly, which necessitated creating this entirely new system, the 48th system.
That's a pretty big deal scientifically, right? Classifying her as Gwada negative and, well, I guess for now, everyone else on Earth is Gwada positive.
Correct. Her blood just doesn't fit into any of the previous 47 systems. It really forced a whole new category. It redefines things a bit.
Okay, so establishing that extreme rarity, I mean, the immediate practical question just jumps out. How do you even live with that? What are the logistics involved?
It's a huge challenge. I mean, the immediate consequence is straightforward but scary. Anytime she might need a transfusion.
Surgery, an accident, anything.
Exactly. Any of those situations. She has to rely only on blood. She has already donated herself, her own private stock. There's literally no other donor in the world for her.
Running your own personal blood bank, that sounds incredibly stressful, especially when you think about how long blood actually lasts. What's the shelf life?
Well, that's the crunch. Typically, refrigerated red blood cells, the standard way blood is stored, only last about 40 to 42 days.
It's not very long if you need a constant supply ready.
Not at all. Now, there is an option to deep freeze blood, use glycerol, and that can extend the storage up to 10 years.
Okay, 10 years is better.
Much better.
Right.
And this is already done for some other very rare blood types, particularly in places like the U.S. But
there's always a but.
Yeah, it's a much more expensive process.
Yeah.
And it's more complex logistically, too.
And even if you can store it for 10 years, you still have to donate it in the first place. How often can a person even donate?
Right. You can only donate whole blood about every 60 days. So roughly every 8 weeks.
Which creates gaps, doesn't it? If the refrigerated stuff only lasts about 6 weeks and you can only donate every 8.
You see the problem. There are potential gaps in coverage, even with the best planning. She'd need to be constantly, continuously replenishing her personal supply, whether it's refrigerated or frozen. It's this ongoing logistical puzzle.
Just to stay prepared for. Well, for life, really.
It truly is. And think about the real-world scenarios. Imagine needing an emergency transfusion. Maybe you're traveling, you're somewhere remote.
Or a sudden severe trauma, like a car accident or something worse.
Yes, or even a planned major surgery where you know significant blood loss is possible. You absolutely need that pre-existing stock readily available.
I heard someone commenting on this actually, saying something like, even if you had a phobia of needles, you'd probably get over it pretty fast in this situation.
You'd imagine so, yeah, when survival's on the line.
Right. And what about the cost? Storing blood, especially frozen, sounds expensive.
It is. There's speculation, probably quite accurate, that research institutions would likely step in to help fund the acquisition and storage.
Because her blood is so unique for study.
Absolutely. The scientific value of studying such a unique genetic profile, understanding how it works, is immense. It's a unique research opportunity.
And you also have to think about specific life events. For a woman, childbirth is a major one.
Definitely.
That can involve significant blood loss. So if she chose to have children, having that robust self-donated stock beforehand would be, well, absolutely critical.
It really highlights how meticulous her healthcare planning has to be. It touches everything. And, this whole case, it really throws into sharp relief how simplistic our usual understanding of blood types is.
Yeah, most of us just learn AB, ABO, and then positive or negative, right?
Right. And we hear about the universal donor, O-negative blood.
But this case really challenges that idea, doesn't it? Especially the universal donor concept. You're saying O-negative wouldn't work for her. Why not?
That's a really crucial point. O-negative blood lacks the A, B, and the main RhD antigens. That's why it works for most emergency situations involving the common ABO and Rh systems. But
for the Gwada negative woman.
for her, even O-negative blood would contain the Gwada antigens. Because remember, from her perspective, everyone else is Gwada positive.
Ah, right. So her body would see those Gwada antigens as foreign.
Exactly. And her immune system would attack them, causing a severe, potentially fatal transfusion reaction. It's just not compatible.
So when hospitals use O-negative in emergencies?
It's always a calculated risk when there's absolutely no time to do a full cross-match. They always prefer fully compatible blood if possible, because even with O-negative, reactions based on other rarer antigens can happen. And sadly, they have been fatal in some cases.
So it's not just A, B, and Rh we need to worry about. What exactly are these antigens you mentioned, and why are there, you said, 48 different systems?
Yeah, it's way more complex. These systems are defined by hundreds of different antigens. You can think of them as unique molecular ID tags on the surface of your red blood cells.
Okay, like little flags.
Sort of, yeah. And if your body sees blood with an antigen, a flag, that it doesn't recognize, because you don't have that specific flag yourself, your immune system can create antibodies to attack those foreign cells.
Which causes the transfusion reaction.
Precisely.
Often.
A dangerous one. That's why we have these 48 different blood group systems now. Beyond ABO and Rh, you've got others like Kell, Duffy, Kidd, MNS.
Yeah.
There's even one called the Bombay blood group.
Never heard of most of those.
Most people haven't. But they're all critical for ensuring specific compatibility, especially for people needing multiple transfusions. Each system represents another layer of our incredible biological diversity.
And speaking of transfusions, are they actually that common?
Oh, absolutely. Far more common than many people think. Estimates suggest about a third of Americans will get a blood transfusion at some point in their lifetime.
A third. Wow.
Yeah, and by age 72, something like 75% will have had one.
75%, okay.
It affects so many different patient groups. Cancer patients often need them during treatment. Trauma victims, obviously. Women during childbirth sometimes. People with chronic conditions like sickle cell or even severe infections like sepsis. It's really a cornerstone of modern medicine.
And getting back to the Gwada negative woman, while she's the only known person right now, is it likely there are others out there?
It's highly probable, yes. Especially, you'd think, in or around Guadeloupe, given her heritage.
Because her parents must have carried the necessary genetic factors.
Exactly. Both parents would need to carry or pass on the specific mutations for her to inherit this trait. And these incredibly rare types, they often only get discovered when someone needs a transfusion and standard cross-matching fails, or through specific research screening. They have to be specifically looked for.
So her case, while maybe unique for now, isn't entirely alone in the world of super rare blood. You mentioned Rh-null before.
Right. Rh-null, sometimes called golden blood, is another example of an extremely rare type where individuals lack all Rh antigens. There are others too. She's the first known Gwada negative, but perhaps not the last.
This whole situation, it just makes you think about, well, the future of blood, right? Are there alternatives being developed?
Absolutely. This kind of extreme case really highlights the need And actually, there's been some pretty exciting news coming out of Japan recently.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
They're in trials for an artificially created universal blood.
Artificial universal blood. That sounds like science fiction.
It sounds amazing, right?
Yeah.
It's designed, theoretically, to be compatible with all blood types,
Oh,
which would just be a complete game changer globally.
wow. And what else? Any other advantages?
Yes, quite a few potential ones. They say it can be stored at room temperature for up to 2 years.
2 years. At room temp. No refrigeration.
That's the claim. Imagine the logistical benefits, especially in remote areas or emergencies.
Huge. Absolutely huge.
And apparently, it can potentially be made using components from expired donor blood. So it could make use of resources that currently just go to waste.
That's fantastic. Wait, I think I read something about this. Is this the one they said was purple?
Huh. Yes, that's the one. There was a detail mentioned that the synthetic blood is described as having a purple color. Intriguing, right?
Definitely memorable. So is this available now? Can hospitals start using it?
Not yet. That's the important caveat. It's still very much in the trial phase, so not available for general public use at this point.
Okay. So promising, but still a way off.
Exactly. But it represents a really significant step, a potential future solution to these massive blood compatibility challenges we face worldwide. It offers hope that maybe, someday, cases like Gwada Negative won't pose such an extreme logistical nightmare.
Well, this single extraordinary case of Gwada negative blood, it's really given us a profound deep dive, hasn't it, into just how complex our bodies are, the incredible science of blood.
It really has. It's humbling in a way.
It is. And it leaves you with a final thought, I guess. This discovery reminds us that even things we think are universal, like blood compatibility, are constantly evolving as we learn more. So it makes you wonder, how might personalized medicine, really fueled by these unique genetic insights, how might that transform healthcare in the coming years? Could it make even the absolute rarest conditions, like this one, manageable?
That's the hope, isn't it? Tailoring medicine right down to the individual's unique biology. It's a fascinating future to consider.